What's going on, guys? Chandler from EzStocks here. Come back at you with another video. Today we're going to be going over my top 3 favorite plays right now to go through this market as it starts to go through a little bit of uncertain times. People are saying it's going to crash. People are going to say it's going to keep going up. People are going to also say it's going to flatline out. So without further ado, let's go and hop into it with the first stock. All right, the first stock we're going to be looking at is UVXY. This is one of my favorite stocks to play upon. Whenever this rises or seemingly goes up, it jumps up quite a bit, and typically the market will have a down day in that sense. Again, it's that fear index kind of thing. And basically, if you go and zoom out here, I guess it's not the best zoom out, but anytime you really see any of those spikes, it's like a day or two later, it starts to drop off again, because again, this is a time decaying stock, so over time, it's just going to continuously decay out. And these little spikes always seem to come up to around that $12 or $13 mark, and then they'll drop down below that $10, $11 mark. And that's where I love to get my money's worth, and I love to short it. I'll put it out, buy a couple puts, put debit spreads about a week or two out, and then they'll drop off, get down. I'll normally buy around the $11.50 and the $11 debit spread as my range. And then when it goes down to that $10-ish, $10.50, that's when I typically sell, and I'll cash out about double my money. So this is one of my favorite plays to do in this basically flat market as of right now. All right, the next stock we're going to be talking about here is Boeing, ticker symbol BA. Again, this stock has had a pretty wild year. If you look back, sitting around $350, had that big crash because of the beer bug. Started to flatline out there, and then recently had a pretty nice run up and has now settled down into a steady decline. I've been taking advantage of this. It's been sitting below the moving average and is still there even with a green day today. Obviously, the RSI is dipped really low, so you could see a little bounce up, and that's what we're seeing right now. But what I'm doing with this currently is I have about a 2-week out call credit spread, I believe, at the $220 mark, so somewhere in this range. If you take a step back and look, the support line is around that 210 for at least this initial one. We just broke below that, so that next one again is coming up pretty close here. So again, I feel pretty safe around that 220. That's that moving average, that really long one, the 60-day moving average. That's that green line here. So that's why I went with that there. And that's just another play that I'm looking at right now, because Boeing not making too many planes or anything like that currently. All right, the last stock here today we're going to be talking about is NVIDIA, ticker symbol NVDA. This one is honestly one of my favorite ones just to trade up and down with, because it holds its support lines and its resistance marks pretty well. Again, you can draw it just basically straight across. I have a alert anytime it hits around that $510, $515, $20 mark, whatever it is. I basically just buy a couple calls, or I'll sell a credit spread, a put credit spread below around that $490 mark, because that's the lowest it's been to, is $492. So I just want to be extra safe. And then when it comes up to those peaks, again, if we zoom into like the 1-month chart here, you can see basically those peaks are pretty flat across. Obviously, yesterday it had an insane spike. If you look in, it only lasted like a couple hours. But again, RSI basically was saying, bro, this is gonna tank. And I bought a couple call credit spreads on that, and I was pretty happy, and it dropped off pretty fast the next day. Again, today it's up, but if I were you, I would just take a look anytime it crosses down below this threshold. You're buying a couple calls or just buy a couple shares, whatever you want to do. And then when it gets too high, then you buy a couple puts, blah, blah, blah. But it's been condensing, so be on alert for a breakout in the near future. But again, until that happens, I'm just going to keep playing that over and over and over. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. Hopefully this was enjoyable as well as helpful. If it was, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. It helps me out a lot. See you guys in the next one. Peace.